She always told me if she was gonna kill herself, she wouldn't make it meaningless.
In March 2023, Eden Knight, a young Saudi trans woman, took her own life. She wrote and uploaded this final message to Twitter. I'm an investigative journalist for the BBC and one of 35 million people who saw this tweet. It trended around the world and led to many theories about her death.
I want to believe that as her final message, she wanted to give us the information that she had so that someone else could do something with it and bring justice.
When you actually read the note, it's crazy what she's alleged, that she was deceived from start to finish on the US soil and then taken back to Saudi.
In her final message, Eden mentions the name of a lawyer, but no one has been able to identify him. Eden's message only tells us part of the story. I want to track him down and find the other people named in her message to piece together her final months. I'm meeting with the people who knew Eden best. Her story has left a mark that's hard to forget.
Hi Hayden, really nice to meet you. I'm Katie. Hi, thank you so much. Thank you.
I really struggle with eye contact. And one of the things that I remember the most about Eden, every time she was talking, she'd be like, look at me, look at me, look me in the eyes. And I'm like, oh, dude, I can't do that.
It's always the one thing you want that you never get. It's crazy.
An incredible person, incredibly intelligent, caring, kind, empathetic, smart. Everything you would want from a person and a friend.
He'll allow it. Oh shit!
Both of them with complete unjustified confidence in their skills.
Eden was tiny in stature and large in personality. Just beautiful, strong features, and just like an absolute little firecracker of a person.
Eden grew up between two worlds, Saudi Arabia and the US. In 2022, she was studying computer science in America on a scholarship funded by the Saudi government.
Coming out as trans turned her life completely upside down. You can't be trans in Saudi Arabia.
Being transgender in Saudi Arabia is not tolerated either by society or the government and can lead to arrest. Knowing her family would never accept her, Eden made the difficult decision to cut ties with them.
My whole world is flipped upside down. Tomorrow, I'll have to block my parents' numbers.
A lot of her life in Saudi was just kind of monitored. Her father was a very influential person. Her mother was very strict. They kept a very close eye on her to keep her from stepping out of line with who they wanted her to be.
In the summer of 2022, she decided to apply for asylum in the US.
Gonna have to set up a GoFundMe for an immigration lawyer to represent me in my asylum case.
It's not like her parents didn't have money. They're very wealthy. If she wanted to keep living a comfortable, sure life, all she had to do was just pretend to be who they wanted her to be. By being trans, everything was called into question. She wanted to be accepted. That's all she wanted. Somebody to tell her that it's okay that she is who she is.
Eden's final message is the only public account of her last months. But her friends have shared their private messages with me. And I was able to recover posts from her old Twitter accounts, now known as X. Together, I'm hoping these could provide vital clues about what happened to her. Roxy was one of Eden's closest online friends. They spoke almost every day.
She started off as one of my reply girls. She had such a strong personality. She was very confident and upfront and at times aggressive.
Eden's US visa expired after she dropped out of university, leaving her unable to work and earn money.
Don't usually do this, but I've had a shitty turn of events and I need some money for food, housing this month. Anything is appreciated.
I could ascertain through her posts that she was having a hard time with her living situation. So I offered for her to come and stay with us.
Eden started her transition just before moving in with Hayden.
We put together like a whole wardrobe for her. We helped her dye her hair. Helping her do her eyebrows. I waxed her eyebrows. This isn't just a house that you're staying at, this is your home.
5 months of transitioning and I've never been more comfortable with my body.
Eden regularly shared updates about her transition online, including changes to her clothing, hairstyle, and use of hormone replacement therapy, or HRT.
She was becoming an internet micro celebrity. She was getting like a lot of followers, a lot of likes. So one of the last like really big tweets that she made it was a really funny post. It was what the person at the counter sees on my ID versus me now, LMAO. It's the very, very nice picture of her versus the one on her ID.
Eden believed this tweet put her on the radar of the Saudi government.
Saudi government is now after me because of the post. I'm never going back.
Desperate to claim asylum, Eden says she was contacted by someone who offered to help. In text to friends, Eden confirms this person was Michael Pacalico.
We just don't want to see it.
I found this video advertising one of his books.
And just like that.
He writes spy novels and has a private investigations company. He also has investments in Saudi Arabia.
So I was there the first time she talked to him on the phone. It was on speakerphone. I remember him specifically saying, "Oh yeah, I know your father. He's a very powerful man. I've seen these photos you're posting on Twitter."
Eden said that Michael was helpful at the start. He offered to fix the relationship with her family and help with her asylum claim.
Over the course of the next 4-5 months, she started to trust him more. Michael Pacalico was proposed to her as her ticket to asylum.
She told her friends that Michael said she had to leave Georgia and move to Washington, D.C. to claim asylum.
Eden messaged me saying she was going to DC. And I was really confused because we have a lot of immigration lawyers in Atlanta. And so I asked her, can't we do that here where you have lots of immigration lawyers?
I emailed Michael to ask if he told Eden to move to DC. He didn't respond, so I gave him a call.
Hi, Michael. My name's Katie Ling. I'm a journalist from the BBC. I was just hoping I could speak to you about Eden Knight. No, I've just seen that you've were mentioned in the... Oh, okay. He hung up on me.
Michael wouldn't speak to us. But Eden's final message gives another clue. She mentions arriving in DC for the first time and meeting Michael and a lawyer named Bader. I'm trying to imagine how Eden would have felt leaving her friends behind and stepping off the train in DC.
A Saudi lawyer named Bader met me at the train station. At this point, the only person I was in contact with was Bader. I was allowed to experience DC. He got me an apartment. He took me out to eat. He pampered me.
Eden never mentions his full name, only Bader, and that he's a lawyer helping with her asylum case. A search for lawyers named Bader in DC led us to an article mentioning Bader Al-Amer. With no social media profiles under that name, we translated our search into Arabic. Search it again and a web page comes up showing Saudi lawyer Bader Nasser Al-Amer. Using his second name, we found a Facebook account under Bader Nasser with numerous photos of him, including one at Harvard Law School. In Eden's messages, she mentioned her lawyer was Harvard educated. We checked the directory for lawyers in Washington, D.C., and found only one Bader N. Al-Amer. But is this the Bader that Eden mentions in her final message?
My lawyer knows I left my family to transition. He wants me to stop my hormone replacement therapy and get rid of all my feminine clothes. I don't feel like I'm in my body or I'm controlling it.
In her final message, Eden claimed her lawyer was pressuring her to detransition. She also told Hayden he was interfering in all aspects of her life.
She lived in this room by herself. But I know that there were people that were going through her room and like going through her stuff to, sort out what's appropriate clothing, what isn't, which of course ended up being, oh, this is clothing for a woman, get rid of it.
After 2 weeks in her new apartment, Eden decided to leave.
Eden hit me up and said that she was running away. She was going to stay with Hayden again and try and figure out a new plan. DC wasn't working out. And so I said, just let me know. Like, I got you. I can pick you up. And she bought a megabus ticket. And then she tweeted about running away, and she said someone showed up. So she didn't come. Whoever it was that showed up at her door absolutely terrified her.
I asked her friends if they have more information about Eden's time in DC.
Did you guys stay in touch?
When she first got there to the apartment they had her in, she wanted to FaceTime. And before we did all that, she had sent me a picture of her view from the apartment where she was staying.
In the picture, you can see 2 buildings and a large car park. Using these landmarks, I geolocated them to the outskirts of Washington, D.C., in Northern Virginia. This is one of the buildings, the Northern Virginia Community College. And this is the car park. The picture appears to have been taken from a building directly opposite.
So I'm 100% sure I'm standing in the car park that's in this picture. That is the community college that is in the background. The same car parking diagonal spots and these apartments have the same window structure as in the picture as well.
These are some of the pictures Eden shared with her friends from the apartment. I'm trying to find someone who knew Eden while she was living here.
So we are currently going into one of the flats that will have a similar view to the one that Eden was staying in.
One person agreed to talk to me, but didn't want to be identified.
She had women's clothing, styled hair, jewelry, and makeup. She'd have to hide it all when Bader came. Bader made her get a haircut and grow out her beard. It seemed like it was Bader's plan all along to have her go back to Saudi.
This is the first person I've spoken to who saw Eden and Bader Al-Amer together.
At a certain point, I realized I was entirely dependent on Bader for food and shelter, and that if I ran away, he could easily find my location. And since I was illegal, I would have just been deported to Saudi.
She would tell me that she was working with a lawyer in her asylum, so I assumed that she was in good hands, which was obviously like a mistake in retrospect. One of the things I particularly remember is she said that her lawyer told her that she couldn't apply for asylum in the US, which I knew was wrong, but I didn't question her on it because I assumed the lawyer knew more than me.
My lawyer is detransitioning me. He told me to dye my hair black, which I did, then try to get the barber to cut my hair short. I had to dye it a color I didn't want, cut it like I didn't want it to be cut, change parts of my wardrobe.
You can see these changes from the photos Eden posted in the apartment.
So I've just come across some of Bader's Google reviews, and he has reviewed 2 places in Northern Virginia. One of them is a hair salon, and he gave it 5 stars. So I think if I book an appointment there, maybe some of the staff can give me some information on him.
On my way to the salon, one of Bader's former colleagues had heard I was looking into him and got in touch with me. They shared a recent photo claiming it's him.
When you do that, it causes the hair
My
to swell.
appointment is booked with Irving, the salon manager who has worked here for over 10 years.
Everybody just wants to go there. It's with a product that we use. And what it does is it will lift your color.
He didn't know Eden, but he did know Bader.
That's him?
Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
Yep, that's him. He's not as heavily bearded now.
No?
No. More like that.
More like that.
But his hair is shorter.
Because you said he has kind of a slight frame, but in these, from like judging by his face, like.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's probably about 5'8",
Okay.
and not very broad.
He told me that he sold Bader this building.
Yeah, he owns the building, and he paid cash.
Okay. Is that unusual or normal?
Of course it's unusual.
I was thinking one point.
But he's got some pretty heavy backing from Saudi Arabia, I guess. So
What does he do for work?
he's an attorney.
So how often does Badr kind of come around here?
Not very often.
When was the last time he was here?
About a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
So I just missed him.
Yes, you just missed him.
Irving also told me that Badr is a lawyer with an office in the area. Another source shared his most recent work address with me. I'm going to try and find Badr at this location. We're waiting outside the office to see if we can spot Badr. We haven't seen anyone that looks like him. But there's a car that stands out. It has tinted windows and a distinctive number plate.
Someone just arrived.
After waiting for hours, someone comes out who looks like the man in the picture and gets into the car.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Go, 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 go.
We have a visual confirmation, a work address, and a number plate. The car has a diplomatic number plate. The letters LN refer to Saudi Arabia, while S means foreign embassy staff. This indicates that the person driving the car works for the Saudi embassy. We called the embassy to ask for Badr.
Thank you for calling the Royal Embassy of Saudi Arabia in Washington, D.C.
السلام عليكم. ممكن تحولني لمكتب أستاذ بدر لو سمحت؟
Voicemail system is unavailable. Try again later.
He didn't pick up, and when we tried again, we couldn't get through. Badr seems to be working as a private lawyer in the US, and also at the Saudi embassy. I found a post from 2018. A parent asking Badr for help. Their son, a Saudi student, was in prison and they were seeking Badr's assistance. US court records show the student had fled the country as a fugitive from justice. I went through other records of Saudi students listed as fugitives and reached out to the American lawyers who handled these cases. One agreed to speak with me, but didn't want to be identified. He claims Badr assisted Saudi citizens involved in criminal cases in the United States.
Badr would come to the meetings with an Arabic form headed by the Saudi embassy for students to sign. I remember in some cases, suspects would be there in the first hearing, and when it came to the second hearing, they would disappear.
The form they signed promised to pay back legal fees to the Saudi government. In these cases, we don't know what happened between the hearings or if Badr was involved. But I found Badr had been involved in a case before it reached court, of 2 Saudi students questioned over the killing of an American man in 2018. Days after the stabbing, they flew back to Saudi Arabia. A source who worked with Badr told us he helped arrange their travel. They were later charged with murder.
I can't take the asylum process. I have to go back to Saudi. I don't really know if it's safe for me to go back, but I'm going with a lawyer and wishing for the best. Tomorrow I'm leaving. After then, The Pandora box opens, and whatever happens, happens.
On December 12, 2022, Eden flew back to Saudi Arabia on a flight she says was booked by Badr.
She said that her parents went into her room and took her passport, took all the money that she was saving up, took the HRT that she had hidden. She was just sort of telling me how there was nothing for her to do other than just wait.
Over the next few months, Eden posted less and less online. And this is the last picture Eden shared with her friends in February 2023. A few days later, she shared this video. You can hear a relative shouting at her.
يعني خلينا نقول احساسك صحيح وبعدين بتطلع لك الجيود ولبسك عباية يقول خلاص صار انت ايفون. هذا الضرب اللي يقوله يا حمار قوم لوط. اسمع عن قوم لوط يا صوت اللي رحت هناك طلعوك من كذا. ما ذكر وانت بس.
2 months after her return, Eden messaged a friend saying she believed her parents were involved in getting her back to Saudi. Eden never shared the evidence she claimed to have, but in this message, she says she spoke to her lawyer about it.
Parents found my HRT again. It's over. I'm gonna write my note and post it.
Hours later, Eden posted what would become known as her final message.
Around 10 p.m. that night, my ex-wife runs into the room, wakes me up and says, Hayden, I have really bad news. Eden killed herself. All these wonderful things about her, all these horrible things about her, she's a person. There's a lot more there than just a trans person. She was my sister. She was my son's aunt. And she was my friend.
After a year working on this story, I still couldn't reach Badr, and so many questions remain unanswered. A US immigration expert told me that had Eden applied for asylum, there's a 99% chance she would have been successful. Eden's friends are left to cope with her death and find closure.
I want to believe that as her final message, she wanted to give us the information that she had so that someone else could do something with it and bring justice.
We want some kind of justice and prevent the people who did this to her from doing it to anyone else.
I don't think I realized how impactful her death really was. That was something that really always struck me about Eden, was how unwilling to give herself any credit for anything she was. When it came to Eden, it was like, I'm a bad person, I'm a bad person. But when it came to everyone else, she was so kind and patient and understanding.